or an organization that has a learning and talent development department, I'd love to help them power up their employee engagement through the use of technologies such as social media and the Apple iPhone.
Look at that, right on the money, and you're very good with time. All right, Richard Pachowski, take it away.
I think we've all had this happen to us, haven't we? You've applied and they've accepted, and you recognize what a huge opportunity this could be for you. So you've scripted and prepared every last thing you're going to say, and you've chosen that suit and picked out your best blue tie. And then this happens.
Hi, you're looking for someone who has more than just a focus on technology.
Oh.
You're looking for someone who has...
Oh, it's happening. Oh, no, it's happening. Oh.
That's okay. Go for it. Tell us. Just speak to me. Like we're sitting at the dinner table. Go ahead, Richard. What do you have? What can you offer?
You can see it's happening.
That...
Oh, it's so bad.
That's okay. Regroup for a second. No problem.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think we've all had this happen to us, haven't we? Or the fear of this happening to us drives us away from speaking ever. I think this phenomenon of choking is caused by the thought, what if I choke? Thinking about choking can make us choke. There's a phenomenon in motorcycling called target fixation, which is a very similar thing. It's when particularly new motorcyclists set out, they're on a ride, there's beautiful dry bitumen, and then ahead of them they spot a patch of wet leaves perhaps. And they know, probably from reading on Reddit, that wet leaves and motorcycles don't match well, and now all they're doing is focusing on the leaves and how much the crashing might hurt and how they'll scratch their bike, and the panic is making them focus so intently on it that they're imperceptibly leaning towards it, and then that's what they end up getting. They end up wiping out in a pile of leaves, feeling like they were pulled towards them like a force of gravity. I think the same thing is what's happening when we choke when we speak, and that is we've got a set amount of processing power in our mind. And if we focus all of that on what we do want, on the dry, nice bits of road, on how much throttle we want to apply, how far we'd like to lean, where we do want to go, that's perfect. That's exactly the flow that we're aiming for. But when we spot those wet leaves, if we're not in control of our own thoughts, there's a risk that we start to go, oh, hang on. That could cause a problem. And as that thought of that problem starts to grow, more attention will flow there because we naturally devote more of our attention to threats and problems. Until now, all that's in our mind is the wet leaves. All that's in our mind is the choking. So we don't have any space left for what was I going to say next? How was I best going to describe this? What's a good metaphor that might work in this situation and explain it well to those people? If all we're thinking about is choking, we've got no thoughts left to speak, and now we're choking. So what can you do to deal with this, either in motorcycle riding or public speaking or speaking up in a meeting or on a date? Focus on what you do want. Focusing on what you do want is a way of dominating all of your thinking with useful, functional, helpful thoughts without needing to focus on the thoughts you don't want, because focusing on the thoughts you don't want is thinking about what you don't want. So focus on what you do want. I want to be funny. I want to think of an interesting way to describe this. I want to find out a bit more about them. So what's a good question to ask? Focusing on what I do want gives me a range of things I could do well, rather than a list of binary things that I should do and should not do, because my focus will naturally be drawn to what I should not do. It's difficult, but it's simple and hugely powerful. Focus on what you do want. One of the ways to also help yourself with this challenge is don't script yourself too much. In this last presentation, I think that what's happened here might be that this chap before Richard has said, I focus on using technology to leverage results for organizations. And then Richard's popped up to speak, and his first bit of his script is, I don't use technology. You need somebody who focuses on more than technology. And he's gone, well, I'm a team player and I recognize that saying I focus on more than technology is going to sound like I'm throwing shade on the guy before me. So I don't want to say that. And now, because he's got that script, he's got this binary yes, no thing. And now both of those results lead in no. No, that's not the script. I don't have anything to say. Or no, don't say what's in the script because that's throwing shade on the person in front of me. It makes conversations more difficult. Plus, think about it. When you've been really transported by what somebody's saying, really drawn along with them, is it because you feel like they're following their script really well down to the last word? Or does that actually alienate them a bit from you? That you think, hang on, you're saying this the same way you did to the last person, and I'm a different individual. I'd like you to adjust this a bit. I'd like to feel like you're saying it to me here in the room live. I want to feel that sense of you being present. So instead of scripting, focus on a flow, have a clear goal, i.e. what do you want, and then think about how best you might get there. If somebody's more curious about a different bit of your presentation, switch to that bit. We can flow wherever we want to go because, well, it's easier. It's just a conversation now. And now by changing that idea of it being a conversation, being a presentation to a conversation, the rest of it gets a lot easier. The other thing is pick yourself up. One of the best ways to do this is to focus on managing your stress response. Getting stressed is typically associated with breathing sharp mouth and chest breaths, which will correlate with a spike in adrenaline, increase in heart rate, pupils dilate, and I'm panic stations. I'm going to be less capable of using my frontal lobe, less capable of empathizing and thinking, hey, what's a good way to form this message into a concise, meaningful bundle of words? And instead, I'm going to be focused on threats and problems, and it's going to be harder to structure a sentence. So the simple solution for this is breathe through your nose into your belly as slow as you can. That will help you calm down, give you access to your frontal lobe, and you'll be able to think of more effective ways of explaining it and flowing to most effectively connect with your audience. And let yourself off. People want you to succeed. I think we all get a sense of watching Richard there that we get this awful like, oh no, please, like we want to hug him. You can feel the news anchor wants to sort of pick him up and kiss his boo-boos better. As a side note, I don't think that's the most effective thing to do with people sometimes. I think it can reinforce that they stuffed up and that they need our help, but that's probably a subject for a different video. Just let yourself off. If you stumble a bit, that's fine. Pick yourself up, focus on that flow, focus on what you do want, and recognize people make mistakes. And in many cases, making a mistake can endear you more towards a person than getting it right the first time. I hope you found this useful. If you have, please drop a like, maybe even consider subscribing because I want to make more of these videos. And if you do that, it'll help me. And if you've got any feedback, pop it below, as well as I would like you to write a comment below if you're game about a time that you might have choked in a presentation.
I'm that person. I have great customer focus skills and great soft skills. I have the ability to take end-to-end ownership of a project and the determination to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Fantastic, Richard.
Thank
All right,
you,
Lyle.
and
It's okay. You don't have to thank us. We're going to move right on to Lyle Nasser. Go ahead, Lyle.
I'm Lyle Nasser. I'm a results-oriented professional with demonstrated experience in budgeting, capital planning, and corporate strategy. I have a BBA in business and an MPA from the CU School of Public Affairs. I'm looking for a position in healthcare, nonprofit, or a political campaign. If you need someone hardworking and a self-starter, I'm your guy.
There we go. Lyle Nasser, Richard Pachowski, and also Eddie Turner. It ain't easy doing live TV, but you guys did great. Gentlemen, keep me posted. Let me know what happens, all right?
Thank you, Kira.
Oh, thank you.
very much.
Thanks, guys. Well, you can find out more about these folks and get their email addresses by visiting my blog. And if you want to be part of our 30-second pitch, just send your resume to 30secondpitch@cnn.com.